Would you like to learn a prayer that will get the attention of God? Are you ready? Get a pencil, get a piece of paper. You're going to have to write really fast. I don't have time, but I'm going to give you a prayer that you can learn. It's easy to learn, a little bit lengthy, but you can get it, and it'll get God's attention. Are you ready? Are you ready to write? Get ready. You're going to have to write fast. Here it is. Are you ready? Write it down quickly. Help! That's it, one word. That'll get the attention of God. You say, Harold Hunter, what in the world are you talking about? God is far more interested in the desperation of your prayer than he is the content of your prayer. Let me give you a story. Peter was walking on the water, looking at Jesus, had his eyes focused on the Savior, until he began to listen to the thunder roll and watching the lightning flash, took his eyes off the Lord and began to sink. And according to the Word of God, he reached up and said, Master, save me. Lord, save me. Many years ago, I drank coffee with a very elderly man. Found out later that he was a retired member of the Metropolitan Opera in New York. He was a German man. His parents had brought him as a child from Germany. He said, I remember as a child there was a painting in our home. Actually, it was a lithograph. And my father always said, if the house burns down, grab this first. And he said, I want to give it to you. It was a lithograph, not actually a painting, of Peter in the water reaching up to Jesus. In fact, I had never seen a picture of that biblical story, that narrative. And in it, in German, written in gold on the bottom, was Herr Hilf, H-E-R-R, Herr Hilf, H-I-L-F. And it actually, in German, meant Lord, help. And Jesus pulled him to safety. These are very difficult days in America. That is the prayer we ought to be praying. I'm going to challenge you to do two things. Number one, when you begin to worry about this virus or about the economic implications, I want you to take a moment and say, Lord, help. Will you do that? When you begin to be a little bit down, depressed, discouraged, maybe scared, would you simply stop a moment and say, Lord, help? And just as Jesus pulled Peter from the water, I believe he's going to pull America out and each of us out. Number two, I'd like to challenge you secondly to do this. I want you to tell your friends and your family members this story about Peter being pulled from the water and him simply crying out, Lord, help. And ask them to do the same thing. Every time you think of this virus, every time you think of the difficulties for your family, your friends, or for the nation, just to simply cry out in your heart two words, Lord, help. If we get enough people praying that, I know God will answer that prayer of desperation. In fact, I'd challenge you to do this. Share this little video. And I would appreciate it. It would help us in this if you'd tell people to subscribe. Just hit the subscribe button. But share this. And even if you don't share this video, and even if you don't subscribe, I'd like to know if you're telling your friends and your neighbors, those you love, to also cry out to God regularly, Lord, help. Would you do this for me? If you share it with 5 people, would you just put it a comment down at the bottom of this little video post that I've shared it with 5 people or 10 or 20 or whatever, or 2 or maybe 1? Would you do that? And if you share it, how many people you've shared it with? I'd love to know those things. Or maybe you can private message me. Some people just don't particularly like putting a comment on a Facebook page. So you can give me a private message. I've set a goal of having at least 1,000 people within the next couple of weeks, 1,000 people crying out to God when they are troubled in the course of the day, multiple times, Lord, help. Let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do that. This is Evangelist Harold Hunter. Let's press forward, crying out to God. Victory will be ours. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.